All right, friends, I wanted to do something a little bit different today. I found a really fun article written by Brian Williams. He has a PhD, but he put together 21 mind-blowing stats on sales. So I wanted to go over them today and kind of read through these for everyone that's in sales, that's building a business, that's prospecting, that's doing whatever they can in order to optimize and grow their production, grow their volume, really do whatever you can to build up your business, right? It's all about sales when you're building up a business. That's what drives profitability. So I want to go over 21 fun facts. Cool. So number one, 92% of all customer interactions happen over the phone. That kind of makes sense. So if you're shooting out cold emails, your conversion ratios are probably going to be not really good. If you're spam blowing people up via email or on LinkedIn, that's probably not going to work out. 92% of all consumer interactions happen over the phone. That completely makes sense. Number two, it takes an average of 8 cold call attempts to reach a prospect. I've heard this from Grant Cardone. I've heard this from a couple of other big sales guys. It takes a lot of cold call attempts to reach a prospect, or in my opinion, I think that follows more along the lines of reaching like another business owner or someone that you try to cultivate a relationship with on business. Average of 8 calls. So if you get your first no, your second, third, fourth call, make 8 calls and then maybe call it a day. Number 3, the best time to cold call is between 4 and 5 p.m. I didn't know that. Cool. So between 4 and 5 p.m. is the best time to make a cold call. Number 4, 30 to 50% of sales go to a vendor that responds first. I guess it really depends on the business, right? If you're cold calling random companies, I can see that. Number 5, 80% of sales require 5 follow-up calls after the meeting. 44% of sales reps give up after the first follow-up. 100%. I mean, that 80% rule, 5 follow-up calls after the meeting, that's huge. Even in my business, when I'll connect with a business owner, we'll sit down, we'll go over business, we'll go over what I can do for them, what they can do for me, and really how we're able to cultivate a business relationship. Oftentimes, it does take a couple of follow-up calls, a couple of follow-up meetings in order to get that cultivated, so that completely makes sense. Number 6, Thursday is the best day to prospect, Wednesday is the second best day. I can see that too. I mean, I don't know if that's true or not. I think every day is a good day to prospect, but I can see if you're scheduling meetings out the following week, that probably makes sense. That's cool. Number 7, nearly 13% of all jobs in the U.S., 1 in 8, are full-time sales position. Wow. Okay. A lot of sales gigs out there. Number 8, over $1 trillion, that's 9 zeros, are spent annually on Salesforce. Makes sense. Number 9, in a typical firm with 100 to 500 employees, an average of 7 people are involved when it comes to, in most buying decisions. That kind of makes sense, right? The decision makers are going to pick and choose exactly what's going to be bought for the company. Number 10, 78% of salespeople use social media outsell their peers. Again, okay, so 78% of salespeople using social media outsell their peers. This is a huge, huge takeaway. If you are in insurance, in mortgage, in real estate, whatever you're in when it comes to business, if you're using social media, you are going to outperform, right? We're in the 21st century. Majority of people are sitting online, whether it's on Instagram or TikTok or Facebook, maybe a little bit of Facebook, but Instagram, TikTok, right? More of my generation. You need to be on social media. You have to be active. You need to do whatever you can to get in front of people. And really, I like to say add value, right? So yeah, that's a big, big one. That's almost 80%. Wow. Number 11, email is almost 40 times better to acquire new customers than Facebook and Twitter. I mean, that kind of makes sense. I guess if you're running really heavy Facebook ads, then maybe, it's a little different. I don't do that, but makes sense. Number 12, salespeople who actively seek out and exploit referrals earn 4 to 5 times more than someone who doesn't. Yeah, I mean, if you're working on the business and you're thinking, okay, what can I do to sell more? What do I need to do in order to grow? And you're thinking, all right, who do I need to prospect on? I mean, that completely makes sense. If you're going to be going out and consistently, we call it working versus in the business, you're working on the business, that's a big deal. So definitely work on the business. I want to say if you can, at least 30% of your time. That's a big deal. That's kind of what I like to do. Number 13, 91% of customers say they'd give referrals. Only 11% of salespeople ask for referrals. This is huge. If you helped a family with anything, I don't care if it's HVAC, I don't care if it's on a sale of a real estate deal, if you're doing a home loan for somebody, 91% of customers, they'd give a referral. Again, 11% of people ask for the business. Hey, Mr. Consumer, Mr. Customer, Mr. and Mrs. Smith, how was my process? By the way, do you know of anyone that I can help right now? Right? That's a big deal. Ask for the business and you're going to give it back. 11% of salespeople ask for that referral back. So you think, I'm helping so many families, why am I not getting referrals back? Ask. That's a big deal. Number 14, only 13% of consumers believe a salesperson can understand their needs. Okay, so I think this has a lot to do with education, right? It depends on your process. For us, what we do with our team is we educate every one of our borrowers, our clients, to the fullest, and then we say, okay, based off of the education that you've learned, based off of what we've taught, let's see what's going to work best for you. This is my personal opinion based off of my experience. What would you like to do, right? So that's a big deal. Number 15, 55% of people making their living in sales don't have the right skills to be successful. Learning sales, learning operations, if you have a team, learning leadership, that's huge. You have to be consistently educating yourself. There's so many sales gurus out there. There's so many people out there that teach sales courses, sales classes. Guys, come on. If you're in sales, you need to be educating yourself consistently, growing consistently, practicing, all that good jazz. And that completely makes sense. I see that, right? That's why even in my business, 90% of deals are closed by 10% of people in my business. That's true in mortgage, my business. That's true in real estate as well. Number 16, continuous training gives 50% higher net sales per employee. I think we talked a little bit about that already. Number 17, the average company spends $10K to $15K hiring an individual and only $2K a year in sales training. That's sad. Honestly, that's really sad. If you're going to be spending that kind of money to find somebody, but you're not going to spend money and invest into them in order for your company to profit, that really doesn't make any sense. In my personal opinion. What's really cool about my company is we have an ongoing sales program really for each loan officer here. So, for example, if you're a loan officer right now and you do not have a weekly or even bi-weekly, for us it's weekly, or at least 3-4 times a month, a coaching call with somebody within your company that's a top producer, that does a lot of deals, that helps a lot of families, that's built a team and knows how to build a team, you're missing out. I mean, you're really missing out. There's nothing new under the sun, so you definitely need to get that coaching and training. If you love your company but you don't have that, you can hire a coaching company. I mean, there's companies like the Core Training. I mean, there's so many companies out there that you can hire that will help you build your business. And these are great companies. Okay, number 18. It takes 10 months or more for a new sales rep to be fully productive. I can see that. I guess if you're in the business and you're going into a new company or a new position and you don't know your products, I guess it really depends on the person, right? You can spend 2-3 months learning your products and then be able to sell on top of that, unless you're really fresh in an industry. Retaining current customers is 6 to 7 times less costly than acquiring new ones. Completely makes sense. I agree with that. Okay, number 20. Number 20. The average company loses between 10% and 30% of its customers each year. That's on the company. That's also on the sales reps. That's a big factor. I get that there's competition out there. Someone's always trying to push a new product. Someone's always trying to push, like in my business, for example, someone's always going to try to push a lower interest rate. Fortunately, that's not applicable for me in my business. I can see that in a lot of other businesses. That completely makes sense. I think, too, ongoing customer service is huge. Just to touch on this a little bit, if you helped a family with, like for me, for example, if I helped a family with the largest financial decision of their life and I got them into a 30-year or a 15-year fixed rate mortgage or a 7/1 ARM or a jumbo loan product, or whatever it might be when it comes to loans, right? VA, USDA. If I help them with that loan and I'm not continuously following up with them at least once every 2-3 months, reaching out to them on their birthdays, but most importantly, doing what we call is our annual mortgage review, then I think that's a huge disservice, especially on the lending side. You need to be on top of your customers, but more importantly, you need to help them with their finances, at least if you're in mortgage, with their financial decisions, right? So that's a really, really, really big factor. Being that world, creating that world-class experience, being with your clients consistently. That's a big deal. Number 21, after a presentation, 63% of attendees remember stories, only 5% remember statistics. Yeah, so when I do my home buyer presentation classes or when I do my lunch and learns with realtors or other business owners, I can see that. I mean, I know early in my career, I ran a lot of things based off of stats, and I was coached early, I guess a couple of years after I was in the business, I was coached on, hey, the value of storytelling because you're really creating a memory. So definitely in any presentation that you have when it comes to sales, whether it's to a client, whether it's to a business partner, you have to have a few stories. You have to have something that's going to help them remember, hey, look, this is the why behind what you're saying. Stats are going to be there. You could always, get that in front of them, but having a really, really strong story, your own personal story, that's going to be huge when it comes to sales. Anyways, I hope this helps. That was fun. Thanks.